girl is fired for helping. Keanu Reeves. Next day, she gets news that changed her life. So let's start.
Where are you watching from? Let me know in comment box and subscribe for more interesting stories.
It was a chilly Tuesday afternoon when Emma, a 24-year-old waitress at the Green Cafe, walked into work, already feeling the weight of the world on her shoulders. The cafe had been slow lately and tips had been fewer, but she was determined to make the best of her shift, as always. As she poured herself a cup of coffee, a man walked in, a customer she didn't expect to recognize in the least. He was tall, wearing a simple black jacket, jeans, and a pair of dark sunglasses, his face partially hidden by a baseball cap. Yet there was something undeniably familiar about him. He took a seat at the corner booth, and the other waitresses whispered as they recognized him. "Keanu Reeves," one of them said, a mix of excitement and disbelief in her voice. Emma's heart skipped a beat. She had been a fan of his movies for as long as she could remember. The Matrix, John Wick, Speed. He was the kind of star who seemed untouchable. But here he was, sitting alone at a table in her cafe. Without hesitation, Emma grabbed her notepad and approached him. She had worked at the Green Cafe long enough to know how to handle every kind of customer. But this was something entirely different. "Good afternoon. My name is Emma. What can I get for you today?" she asked, trying to sound calm despite the excitement bubbling inside her. Keanu looked up, his warm eyes meeting hers. He smiled, a small but genuine smile. "I'll have a black coffee, please. And, do you mind if I just sit here for a while? I need to think." Emma nodded quickly, her hands suddenly trembling. "Of course, I'll bring that right over." As she turned to walk back to the counter, Emma couldn't help but smile to herself. She'd met some interesting people in her time as a waitress, but Keanu Reeves, that was something else. As the afternoon went on, Emma couldn't stop thinking about Keanu sitting there, so calm and contemplative. There was no entourage, no bodyguards, just a quiet man in the corner booth. She felt a pull to make him feel at home, so when she saw that his coffee cup was nearly empty, she refilled it without him asking. "Anything else I can get for you?" she asked, giving him a warm smile as she set the carafe down. Keanu looked up at her and nodded. "Actually, could you just tell me your name?" Emma blinked in surprise, unsure of how to respond. It's Emma, but you don't have to." "No," Keanu interrupted gently. "I just wanted to thank you. You've been kind to me when you didn't have to be." Emma's heart fluttered. "Of course, I'm just doing my job." Keanu smiled again, this time with a knowing look in his eyes. "Well, you're doing it well." The rest of the afternoon passed in a blur, with Emma trying to focus on her work while sneaking glances at Keanu, who seemed lost in his thoughts. But as the shift came to an end, her boss, Mr. Thompson, called her into the back office. "Emma, we need to talk," Mr. Thompson said, his tone serious. She followed him into the small office, already dreading what was coming. It had been a rough few weeks at the cafe, and she had a sinking feeling in her stomach. "Emma, you're a good waitress, but—" He hesitated, looking at her with a mix of frustration and regret. "I've had a few complaints from customers. Your tips have been down, and we're just not making enough money here to keep you on. I'm sorry, but you're fired." Emma's heart sank. She stood there in shock, unable to speak as the weight of the news hit her. Fired? For helping a customer? She stammered, trying to find the words. I didn't do anything wrong. I was just being kind to him." Mr. Thompson waved his hand dismissively. "It doesn't matter, Emma. It's not working out. I'm sorry." She walked out of the office, her head spinning. She'd lost her job, and for what? refilling a cup of coffee for a famous actor. Was that really the reason? But just as she grabbed her purse and was about to leave the cafe, she saw something that stopped her dead in her tracks. Keanu was standing at the door, his usual calm demeanor replaced with concern. "Emma, I'm sorry, I didn't know what was going on," he said, walking toward her. She blinked. "I overheard what happened. She was dreaming, and I don't think it's fair." "You heard?" Keanu nodded. "I saw you helping me all day, and I thought you were a kind person, but I didn't realize it was going to cost you your job." Tears welled up in Emma's eyes. "It's not your fault. I've been struggling. I didn't expect this." Keanu placed a hand on her shoulder. "You deserve better than this, Emma. I'll make sure you get what you deserve." The turnaround. The next day, Emma woke up to a text message that made her jaw drop. The number was unlisted, but the message was clear. "Hi, Emma, this is Keanu Reeves. I've made a few calls. Check your email. You'll find a job offer waiting for you. I hope this helps. You deserve to be appreciated." Emma stared at her phone, completely stunned. She opened her email to find an official-looking message with an attached offer letter from a high-end cafe in the city. They wanted her to come in for an interview, but the salary and benefits were enough to make her head spin. It was more than she had ever dreamed of earning. She couldn't believe it. Keanu Reeves had used his connections to help her. A Hollywood superstar had seen something in her, something she hadn't seen in herself, and now she had the chance to start fresh. That afternoon, Emma showed up for her interview, feeling both nervous and hopeful. By the end of the day, she had not only landed the job, but she was also promised a position with far more opportunities than she ever imagined. A week later, she received a letter from her old cafe, apologizing for the way they had treated her and offering to give her job back. But Emma knew she had already outgrown that place. Emma's life changed in ways she could never have expected. Not only did she thrive at her new job, but she also found herself in a world of opportunities. She no longer felt stuck, and while she never expected to become friends with a superstar, she kept in touch with Keanu, who continued to offer support and encouragement. One evening, she even had dinner with him. He didn't treat her like a fan or a servant, but as a peer. They laughed, shared stories, and for the first time in months, Emma felt like she truly belonged. Keanu's kindness had changed everything. From a waitress fired for a simple act of kindness to a woman with a promising future, Emma learned that sometimes fate works in mysterious ways, and sometimes kindness from the most unexpected places is all it takes to change a life.